You ever wonder why some people work their entire lives and still feel trapped, while others seem to quietly build wealth without the stress? It's not luck, it's psychology. Financial freedom isn't about making more money. It's about rewiring how your brain relates to money, risk, and time. Let's break down what actually separates people who achieve financial independence from those who never escape the cycle. First, understand this. Your brain wasn't designed for wealth building. Evolution programmed you for immediate survival, not long-term financial planning. That's why spending feels good right now, but saving feels like punishment. Psychologists call this temporal discounting. Your brain values immediate rewards far more than future ones, even when the future reward is objectively bigger. This mental wiring keeps most people stuck in a paycheck-to-paycheck loop, choosing comfort today over security tomorrow. But here's where it gets interesting. People who achieve financial freedom don't have superhuman willpower. They've just learned to manipulate their own psychology. They automate decisions so willpower isn't required. When your savings transfer happens before you see your paycheck, you're not resisting temptation. You've removed the choice entirely. This taps into what behavioral economists call choice architecture. You're designing your environment so the right decision is the easiest one. Now, most financial advice tells you to budget, track expenses, and cut out lattes. That's not wrong, but it misses something crucial. The real shift happens when you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an investor. Consumers ask, what can I buy? Investors ask, what can this money generate? That mental switch changes everything. You start seeing money as a tool that works for you, not something you trade for temporary satisfaction. Research from Stanford shows that people who visualize their future selves make better financial decisions. When you can picture the 65-year-old version of yourself, suddenly retirement contributions feel less like losing money and more like helping someone you care about. Your future self becomes real, not abstract. This is why financial freedom starts in your mind before it shows up in your bank account. Let's talk about risk for a second. Most people avoid financial risk because loss feels twice as painful as gain feels good. Psychologists call this loss aversion, and it's why people keep money in savings accounts earning nothing while inflation quietly eats away at their purchasing power. They're so afraid of losing that they guarantee losing through inaction. Financially free people understand that avoiding all risk is actually the riskiest move. They've trained themselves to evaluate risk rationally, not emotionally. But this doesn't mean gambling everything on cryptocurrency or day trading. That's not rational risk. That's emotional risk disguised as opportunity. Real wealth builders take calculated risks. They invest in assets that historically appreciate. They diversify so one failure doesn't destroy everything. They think in decades, not days. This patience is uncomfortable because your brain craves fast results, but wealth accumulation is a slow, boring process that happens quietly over time. Here's something most people never consider. Financial freedom isn't actually about the money. It's about control. Psychologists studying well-being consistently find that autonomy, the feeling that you control your own life, is one of the strongest predictors of happiness. When you're financially dependent, someone else controls your time, your boss, your creditors, your circumstances. Financial independence means you decide how you spend your days. That's the real prize. And here's the part that changes everything. Building wealth requires you to become comfortable with delayed gratification. But there's a specific way to make this easier. You need small wins along the way. If financial freedom feels like a goal 20 years away, your brain gives up. But if you celebrate hitting your first $1,000 saved, then 5,000, then 10, you're creating positive reinforcement loops. Each milestone rewires your brain to associate saving with success, not sacrifice. The people who reach financial freedom aren't smarter or luckier. They've just aligned their psychology with their goals. They've made the invisible visible by tracking net worth, not income. They've made the future feel real by visualizing it regularly. They've removed friction from good decisions and added friction to bad ones. But knowing this isn't enough. There's a specific sequence to building this psychological foundation, and most people get the order completely wrong. They try to fix behavior before they fix belief. That's backwards. If deep down you believe you're bad with money, no budget will stick. If you think wealth is for other people, you'll sabotage every opportunity. The first step isn't opening an investment account. It's confronting the story you tell yourself about money. What did your parents teach you? That money causes problems. That rich people are greedy? Those narratives are running silently in the background, blocking progress you don't even realize you're capable of making. Write down your earliest money memory. Not what you think you should say, but what actually comes to mind. That memory shaped your financial identity more than any advice you've ever received. Once you see it clearly, you can decide if that story still serves you. Most people discover it doesn't. Now here's where it gets practical. You can't think your way to wealth. You need systems that remove decision fatigue. Automate everything possible. Direct deposit into investment accounts. Automatic bill payments. Automatic transfers to savings the day you get paid. Researchers found that people who automate their finances save significantly more than those who manually decide each month. Why? Because willpower is unreliable. Automation doesn't care how you feel. It just executes. But automation alone isn't enough if you're automating the wrong priorities. This is where most people trap themselves. They automate debt payments and bills, which feels responsible, but they never automate wealth building. Pay yourself first isn't a cliche. It's a psychological necessity. When you prioritize future you before current obligations, you're telling your brain that your financial freedom matters more than appearing financially stable. That shift in priority is uncomfortable, but it's the difference between looking okay and actually being okay. Let's address the biggest psychological trap. Lifestyle inflation. You get a raise, so you upgrade your apartment. You get a bonus, so you finance a nicer car. Income rises, but savings stay flat. Economists call this the hedonic treadmill. You're running faster but staying in the same place. The antidote isn't deprivation, it's intentionality. Before increasing any expense, ask one question. Does this move me closer to control over my time, or does it extend how long I have to work? That question cuts through every justification your brain invents. Here's what nobody mentions. Financial freedom feels lonely at first. Your friends are financing vacations and leasing cars, living for right now. You're investing in index funds and driving a paid-off sedan. Socially, you look like you're falling behind. Psychologically, you're miles ahead. This is the gap where most people quit. They can't handle being different. They rejoin the consumer crowd because fitting in feels safer than building wealth in isolation. But the people who push through this phase discover something unexpected. Freedom becomes its own social circle. You start attracting people who value autonomy over appearance. And those relationships are deeper because they're built on shared values, not shared spending habits. One more thing that changes everything. Financial freedom isn't a finish line where you suddenly relax forever. It's a threshold you cross where money stops controlling your decisions. Some people reach it with $500,000. Others need $5 million. The number matters less than the feeling. When you can walk away from income you don't need, from work that drains you, from situations that compromise your values, that's freedom. And it starts the moment you decide that controlling your time matters more than impressing people who don't care about you. The psychology of wealth isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. It requires you to delay, to differ, to look weird for years while everyone else looks successful. But here's what they won't tell you. Those people who look successful, most of them are terrified. They're one missed paycheck from catastrophe, trapped in jobs they hate, funding lifestyles they can't afford. You're building something different, something real. And every single decision you make right now is either moving you toward control or keeping you dependent. There's no neutral. You're either building freedom or you're not. The choice has always been yours. You just didn't realize how much power was sitting in those small, boring decisions you make every single day. Financial freedom isn't waiting for permission or the perfect moment. It starts when you stop performing wealth and start building it quietly.